Book of Acts, chapter 2, talks about our good deeds become a platform for the good news, which in turn empowers people with the gospel.
Praise God.
In perilous times. This is what's happening here in Ezra. You're separate apart. How did Ezra pray for this nation of his? He tore his garment and his robe. Now, if Bill Mackey was here, he would talk about these. Bill is sort of our Jewish expert. Him and his wife are Jewish believers. And in talking with him about this at one point, this is an outward picture of the mourning of the heart. This is what you do when someone you love has died or has walked away from the faith. You rip your clothes. You dust yourself with ashes from the fireplace as a picture of taking upon yourself that penalty. Ezra was broken. He was broken. He looked around and saw what people were doing to each other. He saw how far they had gone, and he was a broken man. And I want you to hear this, because he's talking about lifting up his face before God. It says in Ezra 9:6, it says, "And I said, oh my God, I am too ashamed and humiliated to lift up my face to you, my God. For our iniquities have risen higher than our heads, and our guilt has grown up to the heavens." He's not talking about his personal sin here, because he was a man of God. He was someone who was holding to the law. He had a relationship with God. He was talking about, he took personally the sins of his nation. When I talk with guys like John Moxon, who's in Belfast doing ministry, who was beaten beyond recognition at one point in time, stoned with bricks, cars set on fire, buildings set on fire, sugar in the gas tank. He lost a child on the field. He lost a wife, his first wife on the field. I mean, he went through such a hellacious time to reach Catholics for Christ, and build relationships. You know, he was in the heart of where the IRA was, to the point where now in his late 70s, the people that stoned him with bricks are now sending their grandchildren to his school because they've seen the love that he has had for the nation. What will be said about us as individuals, as a church, about our businesses, about the community groups that we form? Will it be said that we took it personally? Do you know how it hurts to go to Cleveland, Ohio? Cleveland, Ohio? Not only do they have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I am totally offended with, because it started here. How do I know this? My dad was a friend of Bill Haley. Okay, it started here. You know, bandstand was here for 35 years, not in Cleveland. But to have someone from Cleveland say to me, I've been to Philadelphia, I spent a week one day there. I'm like, dude, you've never been to Philadelphia. Are we broken? Do we mourn when we give a Bible to a kid in our neighborhood and the kid hands it back to you and says, I can't read? Do we mourn? Great story. Harry did his first funeral this week. Gordon, you'll love this. He has a better story than you and I will ever have. I couldn't because I was working in my outside job. Harry did Jerry Maguire's funeral.
Show me the money.
Show Me the Money, the movie. He did Jerry Maguire. Okay. My hometown, Boothwyn, Linwood, was a bar named Christie's. Hare does the funeral at the wake in the bar. I felt so bad originally because I'm asking a young man out of seminary to do his very first funeral, and he does it in a bar. And it really went well. He really had a chance to connect and share with people and talk with people, and he said he felt it went really well. He said it was just odd, Jerry being there on the counter in his little gold box, but it was one of his favorite haunts, and the folks wanted to, remember him. And I thought it was sweet. Different, but sweet. But Hare talks to me about, it really opened my eyes, because I can't remember the last time, I'm 34 years old, the last time I was actually in a bar. And I was around all these guys that don't go to church. And they were mourning for a friend. They cared about this guy. And they wanted to remember him properly in their way. My challenge to you guys is, how are you mourning your friends that are still alive? How are you mourning your community? How are you involving yourself in their lives? How are you being moved by God, by what you see and experience, to pray for them? Ezra didn't hear me. Okay, there's a Baptist way of praying. I hate it. We had these R-rated conversations with Jesus. Take him out! Smoke him! Eliminate the scum of the earth! We get our protest signs. No porn! Move! Anti-whatever. Don't we? I hate that about Christianity. I really do. Because it's not real Christianity. It's not real faith. Real faith says, I see the pain that you're going through. And I'm broken, and I'm taking it personally, and I'm going before God and saying, God, we have sinned. There's a big difference between that. There's an identification saying, there go I, but the grace of God. Amen. I'm nobody. Listen, in some ways, even though I don't act upon my sin, I'm just as wicked as I was as a teenager. I still have thoughts. I still have memories. I still go to reunions from time to time, and people come up and say, tell them what you do for a living. I go, I'm a pastor. No, really? What do you really do for a living? I'm like, I'm a pastor and a university chaplain. They're like, no, you? And at that moment, I realized before God, I'm just a worthless slob who's just saved by grace.
Amen. Praise God.